Hey there, welcome to yet another episode of Thunder and Spark. This is a redo for us because I screwed up the first time that we recorded.
He didn't screw it up.
No, I mean, there's no way around.
Well, it wasn't like your fault.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way around that. There was a recording issue that caused us to have to redo this. So we're back in the studio to talk about similar story or the same stories, but there are a couple of new talking points because things have happened. So we're going to have some fun here.
And speaking of new, we're in our new podcast setup. I mean, I think that's really the silver lining in Thunder and Spark.
I'm like, don't look at my feet. You can see.
Okay, but see, then now you've drawn attention and you say, don't look at my feet. And now people are immediately looking straight at the feet.
I'm kidding. You can look at my feet all you want. There's just a pair of tennis shoes down there.
But the dirty side of the shoe's on this side so nobody can see.
The dirty side of the shoe.
I know.
What, like loving cream or like white tennis shoes that have like that mesh fabric, but then you wear them like 3 times and they're done. It's just
yeah.
I can't. I'm very hard on shoes, so I just can't do like white mesh.
Well, and I didn't even like these. I just really liked them, but I was worried about them getting dirty. And I think like the first time I got something on them, I sent a picture to Candy and I was like, well, can't ever wear these again.
It was like a black speck. And I was like,
I don't even know what it was. I think it was like got on the running board as I was getting in and out of the car or something. And I was like, I had them for like 3 days. And I go, I can never wear these again.
I mean, you put
just spray Dawn soap on them.
You put your rain and stain protectant on them when you first get them though, right? Oh, we got to teach you.
Okay, first off, you guys know my stance on shopping and shoes.
Yeah.
So it was a lot to even get these. Nobody told me about the accessories. Nobody told me about preventative care and maintenance.
Crep makes a rain and stain protectant that we coat all of our new shoes with.
Okay. See,
and it is the smart way to go.
It's the video where they pour stuff on the shoe and it just like doesn't sit on it. It just like falls off.
Yeah, but is it like one of those real videos?
No, I mean, the guy, when we bought it, the guy like had it on his shoes and he took his water bottle and poured it on his shoe and it just rolled off. And we're like, we'll take 2.
And we just use it for every pair of shoes that like the kids get now. First, they know just to set it in the garage so I can coat it before they're allowed to wear them.
I also actively try to avoid wearing these in a situation where I think that they're going to, like when I went to the lake this weekend, I didn't wear these. I wore the other pair of shoes I have because they're dark gray. Well, they're dark gray and like they're not going to see. And like if I get them dirty, bad news about those shoes, I wouldn't say that they don't fit. They just fit different. And so they're loose. And so I think I just don't tie them tight enough because I am 100% one of those. I'm a slip in and slip. Yeah. Like I don't. No.
you got to break shoes in to be able to get to that point.
Yeah. So these are good. These are good like that. And the other ones are too, but they need to be tied a little tighter. So they're loose and your foot like moves around in it. Mm-hmm. So Friday night, I get down to the lake. It was gorgeous here on Friday. Like 72, 73 degrees. Yeah. Beautiful out. And that night I got down to the lake and I was like, man, I'm going to sit by a fire. Like it was the perfect night to sit by a fire because it was 65 degrees still at night. So I go around and chocolate may or may not have been involved in this situation. And so I'm like, I'm going to make a fire. And so I start doing it and, walking around the house, there's obviously a lot of rocks and it's at the lake in the middle of the woods. It's dark. Well, my foot went over a rock and because my foot just moves around in those shoes and just slid and like rolled my ankle and like one of those where you just like go down. We're like, oh no. Oh, I did like the Peter Griffin, like, like on the ground the whole time.
I don't know why. But I envisioned this whole scene when it happened. You doing the whole like and I don't know why that's so funny.
That is really pretty much accurate about how it went.
This isn't the first time you've fallen in the last month either, is it? This is your second fall.
Yeah, I did. What was that? 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago when it was like -20 and then now it's magically 72 degrees yesterday. Yeah, no, I went down hard on that. It was like we got that ice and it's like it was really not much ice at all, but it was just enough that everything looked wet. And I knew not to step on these rocks out in front of the house because they're slick. Because I tested them. And I'm like, okay. So I walk around them, put something in my truck. Then I turn, not thinking about
down
the rock.
Goes Tony.
And down. luckily I didn't go back because
what did you say? You sent
big
me
tree fall hard.
Big tree fall hard. He sent me a picture and the whole front of him was wet.
The whole front. And I was actually wearing pretty much the same outfit because I was going to wear this on the podcast that day. And I went down and luckily, because we have a family group chat on there and like somebody had gone down earlier that day, he went down on the sidewalk and hit us in front of his house. I mean, he went down and like that when you watch it and whack your head, and it was bad. I went down frontward, so I caught myself a little bit, but like my hands right here were hurting because I went straight on the rocks, and I was on the ground for not very long, but was soaked.
But there's this moment when you fall where you just sit there and you just wallow in it.
That's what happened. And I sat there and I go, son of a bitch.
And then you get really pissed off, and then you get up and you're really pissed off, and then like 5 minutes pass and then you're laughing your ass off.
Well, two things.
As long as you're okay.
There were three things that happened. First thing is I was pissed off at myself because I knew that was slick. Like I had actively tried to avoid that, but then you're just like
doing
your brain, you're just doing your normal thing. You turn and you don't even think about it. And two, I was like, well, now my outfit is, I'm like walking to leave to go to work. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And nothing pisses me off more than when you just do laundry and like you wash something and then you get a stain on it, you drop it. And I'm like, I had just washed it all. I'm like, son of a bitch, it's got dirt and water all over it now. And third, I was like, I think I'm just going to go back in and go to bed. I was like, this is a no. Like this is like
message received. When
you get ready for your day,
won this day.
When you get ready for your day, and the first thing you do is eat shit in the driveway, and then you have to go inside and change, and then walking around the back of my truck after I changed, I about went down again, but it was all just it was gravel, and so you wouldn't think it's going to be. But the gravel was it was all frozen. It was awful.
You know what might be worse than falling down when you start your day is working all day and then coming home and then stepping out of your car in the driveway.
Yeah, I can't.
And sliding out of your car and busting your ass. And I was I was like raging pissed, like immediately seeing red. I was just so angry, because I just thought it was wet. It just looked wet.
That's what it looked like. Everything just looked like it had just rained.
This had just, I guess, whenever the sun set, it just refroze everything. And it was, because this was a couple days after the ice even initially came, and it was just like bloop. Just whoosh. And I hit I caught myself on the running board on my car. But Ava was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No."
That's when you're like, this stupid effing car, effing driveway, and I hate this. Blah, blah.
Yeah. Everything.
It's like, what exactly can you get mad at in this scenario? Mother Nature.
I was mad at my shoes because I was like, these are my favorite tennis shoes, and I was like, these suck. They suck on the ice, and I was like, well, everything sucks on the ice. There's not a single thing that works on the ice.
Next time it's ice, she's got her shoes with spikes on the bottom of them, and
got cleats on.
Yes.
she's got her cleats on.
Literal ice skates out there.
Dude, but you get mad at everything. You just get mad. Like when I fell, I was like, mother, these stupid effing rocks and blah, blah, blah. Like, this is so stupid.
I know.
Like, stupid eyes. Why do we live in Missouri? I mean, it was bad.
My butt was wet because the way I had landed on my butt whenever I fell, and I was like, God damn it, it's cold outside. My ass is wet. And then I tested my shoes. I was like, these are the slickest shoes. And I tested it inside, and I like scuffed my foot on the floor, and it never moved. Like, it was like solid. And I was like, whatever.
He's like, well, it worked outside. They're slippery outside.
I came inside, and he was like, what's going on? And I was like,
he's like, the stupid car in the driveway and the ice, and it's all stupid.
Burn it all down.
We're moving.
I imagine like some small part of you, whenever you walked in and saw me, had to be pissed at me too.
Sure. No idea why you were even responsible for it, but you were, I'm sure, in some way, shape, or form.
So you're just going to let me die out there on the driveway and the ice? Didn't put any salt down or nothing? Stupid slick driveway. Way to go. Thanks for that. Thanks. My ass is wet now.
You're trying to kill me, aren't you?
Like, logically, it's nobody's fault. It was just an accident. But
you are mad at the world
you're like,
in those situations.
You did it.
I think that's like with anything. When you injure yourself or something happens, like you stub your toe on the corner of the bed, and it's a stupid bed, and then somebody walks in, and some reason it's their fault. It's like, well, I was looking for that stupid thing you wanted me to find, and then the stupid bed got in the way, and like it becomes like you have to have something to be angry at when you hurt. Do something like that.
I don't know why, but hey, maybe that's why NFL players throw their helmets on the sidelines.
Hey,
they got to take it out on something, right?
You got to take it out on something.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Or they're just big crybabies.
But I wonder if the people complaining about Patrick Mahomes throwing his helmet also cry when they stub their toe. Because you know that they do. You know everybody
they probably
bitches.
blame it on Patrick Mahomes.
They bitch whenever they stub their toe, and so, but I don't know. Anyways, nice segue into the Chiefs.
Look at that transition. Hey, how about those Chiefs?
I know they're going. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Game. I don't know if I noticed or not.
Big game.
The big game.
The big game.
The big game.
The Ooper hole.
The Uber hole.
Okay, this is going to go to a different direction.
We're not allowed to say.
Fun fact: I don't know if the listening audience out there might wonder why we don't say the name of the big game that's happening this weekend, but
the pooper hole.
You can't say it because the big bad NFL, they'll come after you.
Yeah,
and so I think it's probably like one of those things where you can say it, but I feel like they're hypersensitive to it this part of the year where they'll be watching for that because everybody's going to try to use that. Like, so I think the rule is you can't use it in anything that's used for like I saw the thing. It's like commercial promotion or like monetization or anything like that.
Gotcha.
Because they have it trademarked.
Well, and YouTube's algorithms are smart enough to be able to listen for it too and send them a notification if they hear it. So we'll just use pooper hole, and that
we're not going to.
The Chiefs are going to the pooper hole.
No, we're not going to use that.
No,
Chiefs are going to the finale.
The big game.
The big game.
The big game.
The big kahuna.
The big game. So yeah, I think it was funny because our first Thunder and Spark was we were talking about how it was going to come out before the AFC Championship, right?
Yep.
And so we're like, well, hopefully, hopefully we're still talking about the Chiefs. And hey,
here we are.
Look at us. Just look at us.
That was it was a really good game. The AFC Championship.
Great game.
Yeah, it was fun.
They're peaking at the right time.
Yep.
So hopefully they deliver Dusty Thunder a wonderful birthday present.
That'd be dandy. Yeah. You know, one thing that came out of that game that is still a factor heading into the big game is a very, very clear level of losers mentality on display. And we've been talking about that a lot because what is the quote? Losers focus on winners, winners focus on winning. And you see, I mean, of course, anytime any team loses a postseason game, there's all kinds of shit talk about, the refs are on this person's side, or, there's all kinds of excuses being made. Now, before the big game, we're seeing some 49ers already have that loser's mentality before the game even happens.
Who was it? Was it Nick Bosa? Did you see his quote?
It was Bosa.
Yeah. It was Bosa, the player, and then it was also York, the CEO. Said that he was blaming the refs for the loss in the 2020 or 2019 season Super Bowl.
Already making excuses.
Yeah,
and that's I think what was Bosa's deal? He's like, what stands out about the Chiefs offensive line? And he goes, they hold a lot.
I'm like every NFL
I'm like, well,
team
let's watch all the tape here. And look, I'm not going to take the side of NFL officiating on any of this because I think it's terrible. I think it's awful. I think that they are the most inconsistent. I think that's what everybody wants, right? Like, it's not necessarily like one particular team. They just want you to be consistent. If you're going to call a hold, call a hold. If you're going to call a pass interference, call a pass interference. But where they screw themselves is when they don't call it, and then they interject themselves in the biggest moment of the game. It's like, okay, yeah, you didn't call an offensive offsides for 58 minutes of that game, but you chose in the last 2 minutes to call it. That's the problem.
That's what people said about the Eagles Super Bowl with the Chiefs, was that they didn't call holding the entire game, and then they called it at the last minute. And in that instance, it favored the Chiefs. But in the Bills Chiefs games, it went against the Chiefs. So I can't say that I don't think the narrative is that those calls are always in the favor of a certain team, because everybody's on the shitty end of those calls. And depending on which team you like or which team you just don't like, you're going to have your opinion of what. If you hate the Chiefs, you're going to say that every call goes in favor of the Chiefs. Sure, yeah. And you can put the stats in front of you and show you that the Chiefs are, and they don't believe one of the most penalized. The Chiefs have had one of the most, like the most top, I don't know what it was. I'm not going to say the stat because keyboard warriors will come after me, but it's pretty high of the amount of calls that go against the Chiefs. We also have the most penalized player in the NFL on our team. So, way to go, Taylor. Yeah, that guy sucks.
Love you. Hey, so you mentioned something. You mentioned something about the inconsistencies with officiating. Do you think that we're moving toward an eventuality where the officiating part of it is AI driven?
No.
You don't think so? Because it's the human element of it that set up.
Yeah,
if there are clearly already systems in place that monitor. If it was AI originated, and like the calling of whatever the issue was still done by humans, and the humans were there to still keep the game, manage the game, at least it would be consistent.
I think it would slow the game down tremendously, because I think there's calls that they don't call because they don't affect the outcome of the play.
Right.
And I think that those calls,
but that's also the problem.
Right.
That's their problem, is that, well, it doesn't affect the play, so they didn't call. If they don't, then you can't call it later, because it's still the same penalty.
I think
you're still committing a penalty. It's just whether they call it.
Well, and like, we can look at the footage and we can go back and replay something on our TV and we can look at it. But when you're down there on the field in the moment, you cannot see everything. Yeah. There's 4 people, 6 people, 2 on the sidelines.
It's a quick
and
bang, bang
it's
play.
Done. And so I think we're expecting these people to see in like everything on the field, and I just don't think that's possible. So is there going to be stuff that they miss? Yes, absolutely. There's stuff that you miss in your daily life that you don't see because it's just happening right there, and it's not something your eyes are paying attention to.
I think part of the problem is, and I think what a lot of people have the issue with, is that they will not admit that they f***ed up. The NFL will not come out and say, yeah, we f***ed that one up. Sorry.
Right. And it's weird.
They will come up with a 3-page long explanation of, well, this is really why we did it.
Right.
When it's very obvious that no, you f***ed that up. They will never admit that they're wrong. They will never admit that they missed a call. They won't admit that they made the wrong call, because that's just not how the league and Goodell rolls. They could. They could come out and can't. They could come out, and I have been in favor of the whole the refs should be held accountable for what happens. Suspend them. They should be off of game. They should not be on a playoff crew that's going to go do it. They should not be in the Super Bowl. They should not do that.
What happens?
It should be a merit-based system.
I think that's
why
question.
they can't. Yeah. They can't come out and say we messed this up, because it would
overturn the result of that game. That's true. Right. And then everything would be open for debate. Anything that ref touched would be open for debate. Ever. And but they can't also fine Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid $150,000
for talking about
the refs, when they aren't going to fine the Ravens for talking about the refs after the AFC Championship, or they can't fine who is it, York from the 49ers, the owner. They need to fine him too, because he's talking about the refs and missed calls. Yeah. So I mean, they're to make an example out of the Chiefs and then not use that example and like through the rest of the season, I think is wrong.
And I think so on the AI side of things. So in the NASCAR world, they did switch a lot of that to like when they make their pit stops. It's all done. It used to be there would be officials there watching. There'd be 2 officials in each pit watching the whole thing. Now it's all in a camera-based thing, and the camera picks that up and notifies them and does it. So, yes, you take that human element out of it. Yeah. But let me tell you, people will still bitch about it. They will still say it's ridiculous. They'll still say that it's the blah, 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 blah. But I think the good thing with that is it's a black and white. Like, it is right there. They committed this. This is the penalty. This is what they did.
Right.
Because that's the problem now. It's you're committing that penalty. You're breaking that rule, but they're just not calling you on it.
Yeah. Right.
And they're letting it go. Like, I think the egregious thing of the whole is that offensive offsides. That guy stood there and watched him line up offside 6 times in that game. Didn't say one word. And then does it in the last 2 minutes of the game. That's the problem they have, is the consistency part of it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And we've talked about it in here. Blaming the refs is that loser's mentality. Like, we didn't lose the game because of that one play. We lost the game because of the 15 other things that we did wrong during that. And sometimes you just get really pissed off.
Somewhere in sports, though, I mean, if you could use AI to track, like, if a basketball touches the line and goes out of bounds, if the ball reaches, like, they get a first down or whatever, like where the ball placement is. Like, you could actually use cameras for that.
I think I saw a video
where that takes, like, instead of marking the ball with your eyes, with the ref, whatever, that could be an element that could be changed.
And I think I saw a video where they're talking about like it might even be a discussion that's happening about like the chain gang that's out there because what's the need for it, right? Now they have cameras in the pylons. They have cameras in those first down markers. They have cameras in the end zone pylon. Like they have those there. So do you still really? I mean, you'll be able to pinpoint where that's at, but
right.
I mean, your chain gang would essentially just be there for players to know where their origination and first down markers were, and that'd be it. It wouldn't be used for actual measurement of first downs or anything.
20 years from now, there's going to be things on the field and in the ball that can track exactly where the knee hit and the ball landed, like things like that. It's going to be very interesting to see.
And it always comes up when they show all those replays, like, yeah, we're looking at this. You're looking at it frame by frame by frame. When the call's made on the field, that is not happening right in front of you. You have to make the call.
I do not envy.
I wouldn't either, but.
And you have to throw a flag in it. Like you can't, I mean, I guess you can take it back because sometimes they do, but like you have to make that decision, like split decision in that moment to throw the flag or not throw the flag.
Yeah. And I think that, the talk of all that leading up to the game, I think that it shows you the mentality. You're almost already making excuses for what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So like whether you win or lose, like you're just setting up that, okay, if we lose, we have to start this narrative that, well, we would have won, but you know how those refs are.
Which is like the seed of losers mentality.
It's what happens with it's what happened going into the Baltimore game. It was, this ref has the worst record against home teams, and he's done this. He's played this many Chiefs games. So you're already setting yourself up. You're already making those excuses and reasons why you're going to lose.
But when you
focusing on that, like, you don't need to.
When you give that record, like there's no consideration for how the games turned out. It's just that this ref favors the home team because more away teams won.
I mean,
like there's no consideration for the fact that the away team was a better team. Like it's that's just not a.
Yeah, there was more penalties against them because they were committing penalties.
That's not a logical stat without looking at the stats of overall, like all of those games.
It's what you use to try to build a case of why you're going to lose the game.
It's what you use to build a case on Facebook.
Seriously,
that's not what you use to build an actual case.
So segue. And this was a topic last time we were recording, still relevant though. Double standards as it relates to Taylor and Jason Kelce, because it is one of the things we talked about previously. Because Jason Kelce got a ton of camera time during that game, and was a riot. Was so much fun to watch,
the best.
But you didn't see people in an uproar about Jason Kelce being shown like they did with Taylor Swift. And I will say, even since we recorded that last batch or the last run of this, I think a lot more people are coming around and softening up and accepting that Taylor isn't here as part of some kind of freaking stunt. Like they're actually happy. You can actually be happy for her and for them and welcome her into Chiefs Kingdom. We are seeing more of that come around. And maybe a lot of that is driven by she's facing the opposition with us now too, right? She's going into the big game, facing the 49ers crowds. And when she went into Baltimore, they were yelling crap at her as she was walking into the stands. Like she's facing the opposition with us.
Right.
And I think that if Thunder and Spark had come out when it was, I think we could have been credited for being the first ones to really, come around on that.
For sure.
Because now it's really kind of become a pretty big talking point on a lot of shit. I mean, you had Colin Cowherd talking about it. You have and what's great now is you may have had a lot of these guys on these talking heads in the beginning who were those skeptical, like, great, she's at the game and, blah, blah, blah. But now they're really realizing, they're like, what's the hate for? Like, what are you doing? And then,
right.
The talking heads all basically, scolding those people who are, again, like, what is your problem? It's like, you don't have a problem with Taylor Swift. You got a bigger problem than that. And it's like, she's at a game. She's there supporting her boyfriend. She's having a great time. She's interacting with fans. She's handing out $100 bills left and right to anybody who works in the stadium or helps with. She cleans up the suite. She does all this stuff. It's like, but they're making that point too of you can't get mad or you can't be excited and talking about how awesome it is that they show Jason Kelce and then sit there and be like, I just want to watch football, and they just keep showing Taylor Swift on there. What's the point of that? I just want to watch football. And it's like, there's a huge double standard there.
There was someone that was complaining about it and they asked like how much of the game was taken up, like what's your team, like what game was it that and he's like, well, that the Chiefs didn't play our team this year. And I'm like, so when did she cut into and then they were asking, when did she cut into the game that you were watching? Yeah. Well, she didn't. And I'm like, so you're just bitching because you've seen other people bitch. Like you're just jumping on the, bandwagon fans.
And now.
Of hating Taylor Swift.
Yeah. And now all of this, like now the numbers are really coming out, right? Like there's all these reports and studies now of the average amount of time Taylor Swift has been shown on a screen in all the NFL games. The average is 25 seconds. 25 seconds out of a 3.5 hour broadcast. And out of that 3.5 hour broadcast, you know how much game time is shown on TV? 18 minutes.
Yeah. With commercials and stoppages. And it's wild.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that we're to the point now where if you see a headline that's talking about Taylor Swift and football games, it is 100% clickbait now.
Oh yeah.
It is people just desperate for impressions and clicks, and that's it.
I've actually started snoozing that stuff on Facebook.
Nice.
Like just getting it off my feed because I'm just so sick of the negativity. Like so sick of seeing people bitch about, if they're not bitching about Taylor, they're bitching about the Chiefs, and I'm honestly just sick of it. Which leads me to my next point.
Yeah, we do have a very serious very serious.
I'm going to use this platform to apologize to all the Patriot fans that the Chiefs dogged on for years, because you know what? It kind of sucks. It sucks to have to listen to all the shit in the background while you're celebrating a team that you've been a fan of your whole life. Like actually being in their moment. Okay, my whole life.
Your whole life.
I've been a Chiefs fan since third grade.
I'm not really allowed to celebrate, so.
Yeah, and they sucked. And we were made fun of for being so sucky. And then you get made fun of for winning because your team isn't winning. And we gave Tom Brady shit.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? He's a great quarterback. And I'm sure some of the shit that was thrown at the Patriots fans sucked because they were in a dynasty. They were in a moment. He did his time. He earned the title that he has right now. Can he be dethroned? Yes.
Yep.
Is Patrick Mahomes there yet?
This is well on his way.
He's on his way, but no, he's not there yet. He hasn't been in the NFL long enough. But I think that's
also an interesting thing of, you can't have that discussion. It's like, okay, no, you can't have that discussion. But they also forget, the conversation about the Chiefs and having a dynasty and all of this. It's not a dynasty. It's not a dynasty. It's not okay. But what it seems like people forget, Tom Brady went on an 8-year gap of winning the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has
Mahomes goes on a 1-year gap of not going to the Super Bowl, and it's like, this is the dynasty. What dynasty? This isn't a dynasty. And it's like, well, guess what? This is 4 out of 5 Super Bowls. Sorry, big games.
Tom Brady has 7 rings. He went 10 times, and he played 23 seasons.
Yeah.
So he didn't go to the Super Bowl. Like he went less than he actually won. What am I trying to say?
Well,
He's
won 7. He's been to 11.
It's hard to say.
More often than he didn't go. More often than he did.
There you go.
Yes.
Thank you.
He's been to 11.
That's why we're married.
Played 23. Been to I got what you're saying.
Yes.
But also,
but he's still an epic quarterback.
Yeah.
Like
you can't take
to watch him drive watch him be down and drive down the field.
It's like watching Patrick Mahomes.
It's just amazing, and that's what I'm going to say. Patrick Mahomes also does that 13 seconds. Like he has that mentality to be the next Tom Brady.
And statistically, he is already outpacing Tom Brady in almost every category. And if he wins on Sunday, he will have, that's the only thing that he's not outpacing Brady on right now is in the amount of time. But I think what people are forgetting too is this is 6. It's like, he's been playing for, 6 years. Well, yeah, it's also his first 6 years. He's been a quarterback for 6 years in the NFL, and he's been to 6 AFC Championship games. This is his 4th big game, and he's gonna hopefully win 3 of them.
It's wild.
And to think, I saw the thing the other day. He's never. The only time he's been eliminated from going to the big game, he's never been eliminated in regulation, because the 2 times he didn't make it was in overtime. So he was never eliminated until overtime of that. And so you're sitting here looking at a couple plays going a couple different ways, and the guy being in 6 straight.
There was also something about
which is insane.
Watching the Chiefs. The Chiefs are only lucky they just play backyard football. That was something that I saw, and I'm like,
okay,
that's what makes it so great, though.
Yeah,
like for me, it's like when the plays don't go right and they have to, just like spin on a dime, and it's just amazing to watch them. Like, and to hear like after the fact, like on the New Heights podcast, when you hear about like, oh yeah, I fucked up, but it still made a touchdown. Like to hear that those things, I think that's. I think that makes the game even better to watch it in that respect.
I think it's a true champion mindset too, because good teams execute plans well, right? Great teams are able to execute well when that plan falls apart.
There you go.
And that is what Pat Mahomes is so freaking good at. When that plan falls apart, finding someone who has the balls to get open. And it's been a different game of that this year, but Kelsey was a great illustration of that with that crazy outstretched dive of a catch, right? It was everything had fallen apart. He found a way to get open, and Pat gave him a chance.
Well, and I think
that's what they're great at.
And I think watching them and watching this particular run, all year long, it was Kelsey looks slow. Kelsey's getting older. He's not moving as much. He's not as productive. Kelsey had a bad year. He was 13 yards short of another 1,000-yard season, which is insane. He is now the leading, has the most receptions in the playoffs ever, as a tight end, by the way, not a receiver, as a tight end. And you just watch, what is it? Him and Kelsey and Mahomes now are past Brady and Gronk. I mean, they're playing their best football, and I think that's the other sign. They, everybody was like, "Can they turn the switch on?" And didn't think it was that easy, but clearly there's a switch and they know how to flip it. And one of the things they talked about this week was, they'll ask him how they're getting ready. He's like, yeah, I've got a routine, which is crazy because it's the week of, the big game, and the fact that you have a routine for it because you've been there so many times and you're doing the same thing that you've done. And I mean, I think that's 100% an advantage to having been there and done that. And one of the big takeaways I took from the Ravens game was, act like you've been there, because they were not acting like they've been there. Right. The Chiefs were. They were there. It was total. What does Caden say? Standing on business. And I mean, they were there, and they had a mission. They had a job to do. They knew exactly what they needed to do, and they went in there and they executed it. And it was, they didn't get, they played the mind games the right way and kept their composure. And you kept a composure in a big spot with all that pressure on you, which you can't necessarily say the same for the other team. I mean, that's the experience of having been there. And you get to that spotlight on Sunday, and there's guys who haven't been there before.
Let your emotions get the best of you. And
these guys have
smart decisions.
I think all of this to say, this 30 minutes that we've talked, is that after Sunday, we're going to be in a very dark, depressed place when football is over no matter what for the year. Because I think it's like one of the best times of the year, like when it kicks off to the Super Bowl.
And it's, as a Bandwagon fan, I am very grateful to, win all the time, because that's all I've known since I've jumped on this bandwagon.
When they lose, you'll go to a different team.
Yeah. So I, if they lose, I could shop around or something, but I don't know.
So we have to explain this, because by this point you're like, what in the hell is the Bandwagon fan thing about? Yeah. So you don't know the story yet, but Tony Sparks is going to fill you in, because he was called a Bandwagon fan.
I was
in a group chat, right?
How did that make you feel?
Well, I just felt like, man,
they figured me out. Or less.
They figured me out. They figured me out, and I'm a Bandwagon fan. Yeah. So I was accused of being a Bandwagon fan and not, only being a Chiefs fan magically appearing when Mahomes appeared, which is not true. And I had the receipts to prove that. And then it's funny when you deal with a hater, you can provide them with, facts and stuff. And then that just gets turned into something else. And it's like, oh yeah, well, you didn't even really know anything about it then when you were, those 4 or 5 years before. So I guess the question is like, what's the plus or minus? How does anybody ever become a fan of anything? Right. I mean, is the qualification to be a fan, like you have to choose a losing team and then you just have to ride with that team forever. Yeah. And then if they win, And it's like, but they can't win too much because then you're considered a bandwagon fan or not, or, I don't know.
When did you become a fan? It was like 2013?
Yeah, I think I went to my first game in 2013. And listen, I gave him credit. I said, listen, for probably 2013 to 2015, 16, like, was I a die-hard, know everything, pay attention, blah, blah, blah fan? No. But did I watch the games? Yes. Did I go to games? Yes. I mean, I would consider that being a fan. Did I know as much as what I do now? No. But that's just, I guess I didn't want to be exposed as the bandwagon fan. So I had to just keep, learning all this and keep, going to a lot of games and watching playoff games. And, but yeah, it sucks. But
that's where I think the conversation gets really interesting, is that people like to gatekeep being a fan of things. Like, what kind of sad bullshit life do you leave if you have to gatekeep being a fan of something? You don't have to be an expert to enjoy it. Being a fan, like, it's the word is fan.
Yeah,
like, I'm a fan. That means I enjoy it. That's it. Right. All you have to do is enjoy something. And
as far as a bandwagon fan, what's now? Granted, I do understand that yes, some bandwagon fans can be really annoying. Like, but a bandwagon fan when they just jump on. But you know what?
I don't even care.
Let them be a fan. Who cares whether you're a bandwagon fan, whether you were born into it, whether your team moved cities, whether whatever. You're how many Patriots fans all of a sudden wore Tampa Bay stuff because they like Tom Brady? So are they just a bandwagon fan of the Buccaneers?
Right.
Now what do? So I don't think it matters. Like, if you're a bandwagon fan or you're not a bandwagon, like if you're a diehard fan or it's your first time at the NFL, in an NFL game, first time watching a game, who gives a shit? If that's that's having a fan, being a fan is being a fan.
Look at all the entertainment.
Look at all the people that are watching NFL games because Taylor Swift's there. It was like, you're just like, I don't want to. Who cares? If they're enjoying it and watching it, who gives a shit?
I love the people asking, hey, this is my first Super Bowl. Like, what? Whatever.
The big game.
This is my first finale. Like, what happens next? What do we do now?
Are we making friendship bracelets? What are we doing?
Next thing? I love that. I think that the fact that there are new fans in football or anything really, like welcoming new fans into something makes it bigger, makes it like to the world. Like, and it's not even just football. I was telling him, like, the Bluey show. Like, I was in a Bluey mums group, and it was people who are from Australia saying that, like, they don't want it was really just targeted at Americans, but wanting us to have like first access to any of the toys or like any of these things, because it was a show that was first. It was a show that was created in Australia, and which we're so thankful for. But I'm like, why? But the creators can't have this success, like, if it's only shown in Australia. Like, it has to make worldwide in order for something to be like excessively successful. And Bluey has done that, and it made the lives of like little kids, I'm sure, so much better, because it's a different type of show. It's not Cocomelon. It's not. You wouldn't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what Cocomelon. I've at least seen Bluey, but I don't know.
They're not like Bluey. Like, is for parents and kids, and so I feel like. But it's like Australian moms trying to gatekeep this and like make it like only for that. And I think it was hurtful to some people. And I'm like, it makes you not want, they're like, this is a mom's group, not a mom's group, was the gist of it. And I'm like, really? Like,
and I guess I don't understand the whole gatekeeping on anything, whether it's the NFL, whether it's movies, music, TV shows, like, oh, you were there first. You watched it first. Oh, you sat there and watched your team lose for 15 years. Like, good for you. You're a better fan. Like, who cares? And it's like the people who are the whole Taylor's ruining football. Like, I don't know how many things you see of, hey, my guy saying, hey, my daughter sits and watches these games with me now, that she'd never care. Now I have those 3.5 hours every week that I didn't have before with my daughter, and she's into it and she's learning. She's asking, we're going to games. How is that bad? How is that bad for anybody, anything, any sport, anything? It's not. And it's like, so if you want to be a bandwagon, call me a bandwagon fan if you want to, because I don't really give a shit. Because you know why? Because my team plays in the big games and your team watches on TV in Cancun. That's what your team does. So I don't really give a shit. And when they lose, I'll find another team, like any good bandwagon fan. But, I don't see him losing anytime soon. So
I asked him this question, and then we'll move on to a story. But who, if the Chiefs weren't your team, who would be your team?
Mine?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's a good question.
I don't know.
Young me would have said Dallas Cowboys. No questions. Like, I wanted to be a Cowboys fan so bad because they were winners.
And I think that was also our generation.
Like, and this was 1994.
That's where the America's team came from, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody, you just knew everybody knew the Dallas Cowboys. And I think everybody when they were a kid.
They had the star. Like,
yeah.
They had a cool logo. And we had, and like as a girl in third grade, I'm like, I want that. I want the sparkly silver.
That's, I mean, if you put a bunch of symbols in a row and asked Navy Thunder to choose which one she thought was prettiest, she'd probably choose the star too.
Bullshit. That girl would choose the Chiefs every single time because she's raised. Well, she's a hardcore raised.
She knows what it is.
That girl's not a bandwagon fan. Yeah,
she knows what it is. She'd be like, Patrick Mahomes.
This is a Taylor story, but I have to tell it. Last night we were talking about Taylor being on TV, and Navy came into the room and she's like, what did she have? She had something, one of her little things in her hand, her little people, her Chiefs thing. And she said, I want to watch the Chiefs game with you. And she thought it was a Chiefs game because we were talking about Taylor Swift being on TV. Awesome. And I was like, you are my girl. I love you so much.
That is awesome.
It was just so funny that she equated those things.
Isn't that just terrible for the sport?
So terrible. I looked at Navy and I said, you shut your mouth. You don't talk about that. You're going to piss off some football fans.
My answer to the new team is whichever one is winning. So
probably, yeah.
There you go.
Typical bandwagon fan.
So if the Niners win, like you're automatically going to flip to that darker red.
100%.
Yeah.
Because right now the game is
champagne.
Right now, the game is red versus red Taylor's version. So that's what the big game.
So the Taylor's version is going to be whichever the winner is, right?
Well.
Wait, I'm just kidding.
What? No. Yes, maybe. I don't know. I'll pick whatever team's winning.
You have a 49ers jersey in the closet.
Yeah,
like a halftime.
I've actually got one of each team depending on which one wins that week. Yeah, I just put it on, and
makes perfect sense.
Hey, when you're a bandwagon fan, it's a commitment you have to make.
Whichever way the wind blows.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so
welcome back.
We have a couple of stories to go through, actually.
Oh God.
Oh no!
Are you shitting me?
We've got a Diet Coke
now
incident.
This is shocking.
Interrupt this
Sometimes
we interrupt this
broadcast. Freezes her Diet Cokes too much, and they start bubbling over.
I like how it's like a sometimes, like it happens occasionally. Sometimes. It happens 4 out of 5 times.
I get nervous on airplanes. Now this is...
Oh, it is. As somebody who sits directly across from you, it happens.
It's 2 out of 4.
Almost every time you have a Diet Coke. Because especially if it's a bottle one and she'll open it and then it'll be too frozen, she'll go put it back, go get a can like she just did with that one. But I don't, 4 out of 5 times she sits there and cracks it and then she'll do something. She's like, oh no. And then that happens.
You're like the Thanos of Diet Cokes. 50% of them just gone.
A little ASMR for you here.
Nothing beats it. Sound of a crisp, probably frozen Diet Coke.
I know, we're going to have to be on Diet Coke watch over here.
Yep. Also, you'll notice since we came back from our break, we have a new addition to the scene here.
We do.
Subeka. Subeka, one of our great friends, sent us a care package of all kinds of stuff, and this is one of the items that was in there. The golden astronaut. I mean, he's cool. This guy's pretty styling.
Miles said was it you who said we'd do an award show?
Yeah, if we ever brought back some version of the Dusties, this would be the award. It has to be.
We'd like to thank the Academy.
That's right. Yeah, the Ass Academy.
Speaking of ass, there was a book in there with a bunch of assholes on it.
There was legitimately a book with a bunch of assholes.
And it might be the greatest thing I've ever seen.
And
it also
fleshy starfish on it.
It's like you don't see them. Like you read the text first, and then you like look around to the rest of it, and you're like, Oh.
Those are assholes.
Oh, okay.
Those are just like a cool pattern that they put on the book. Like,
those are not polka
they're
dots.
assholes, and that is
those are pucker dots.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were
very true.
A book of assholes.
Yeah.
I was like, I hope you. So I was like, are you gonna open this up and like it's just gonna be pages of different assholes? But it was a regular.
It's like a calendar, 12 different assholes on it.
It's like those word of the day calendars, but it's the asshole of the day.
Oh dear God!
A whole bunch of other stuff in that package too. Subeka, you're awesome.
Yeah, very cool. It's a very fun box.
The Moira vocabulary cards, those will be fun.
Those are fun. I liked those.
So circling back to the couple of stories that we're going to read before Diet Coke Gate started bubbling up again. So here is a little story we're going to read and we'll discuss here. Title of this one is, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say this is a true off my chest story since I forgot to paste the link.
Gotcha.
Shame.
Title of this is, today with my boyfriend, I felt genuine disgust for the first time. My boyfriend has a tendency to believe anything he comes across online, no matter how absurd. Today, he shared a tweet with me that claimed Angelina Jolie said something like, cryptocurrency is important. I don't claim to know everything, but I'm certain she didn't say that. It was clear to me that the post was manipulated, with the image looking heavily photoshopped. I went to the extent of searching on Google to verify if she had a Twitter account, and she does not. I tried explaining that it was likely fake, but he remained adamant, persistently trying to convince me, even though it was an unmistakable fabrication. As he spoke, a sense of genuine disgust overcame me. It's hard to explain, but it was like a switch flipped in my head, changing my perception of him. I'm not suggesting people can't be naive, but this went beyond that. One doesn't need to be Einstein to sense that something is amiss. I have zero tolerance for ignorance and plain stupidity. I just can't forgive it. I plan to end things with him tomorrow. It might seem overly dramatic to end a relationship over something seemingly insignificant, but I just can't see him the same way anymore. He is tainted to me.
I would end it too.
Wow.
Like I'd be done. If you don't have I don't know if you can't even just do a simple Google search to find out if something is true or not. And then when somebody proves that it's not true, you're still like, yeah, I don't believe that.
That's what I was going to say. This is obviously a huge thing right now in the news and all of that with all the AI and blah, blah, blah of what's real and what's not. But it's also, it's 2024 and in 30 seconds you could look up and find the information and find out whether it's true or not. But I mean, I think that's just like the problem she's having with him is the problem a lot of people have. Well, I saw this. I saw it on there. And it's like, okay, you saw it on Facebook does not make it a true fact. Like,
well, it probably boils down to a much deeper core issue like she's alluding to here. And this is an inability to perform critical thinking. Right? This is an inability to come to one's own conclusion or have one's own opinion and to just rely on the outside world to fill your head with the script that you're going to regurgitate throughout the day. Yeah, right. If you have somebody who is only led throughout life and is completely easily swayed by everything that they're seeing and is just going to believe all of it and not critically think at all, that would be a hard person to be in a relationship with.
I agree. I mean, think about what's going to happen if you have kids with this person.
There's a lot of risk involved too, because if somebody is completely gullible and completely naive, your entire world is at risk all the time of just shattering, because all it takes is one person to say something like, hey, your girlfriend cheated on you.
True.
But I think part of this problem too is being with somebody who is, well, no, I'm right. That's right. I'm right. No, you're not going to change my mind. Like 100% believing that they are right and whatever they think and the way that, whether it's true or not, like that's what they've said. It is right. You're not going to change my mind.
Which is crazy.
Well, good luck with that. Good luck compromising on anything or telling them something, or you tell them something and he forgot it. Well, you never told me that. Yes, I did. Nope, you never told me that.
Right.
Like it's that mindset.
First time I'm hearing of this.
It's first time I'm hearing of this.
I think it's the inability to see someone else's point of view too. Like if you're unable to, you can only stand firm in what you believe and nothing else matters, then you can't. Like you can't cultivate a relationship with someone if you can't see their point of view. Like you're only going to see what you want to see.
That's confusing though, because he was so easily swayed in the beginning. Wouldn't that mean that he'd be easily swayed away from that point? But now you've got a new breed of human who latches on to that first thing that they see with so much vigor that they're willing to die on that hill, even if it's something that they just skimmed over it. It's obviously a fake. It doesn't matter to them. It was the first thing they saw, and they're the one who told you about it. That means it's fact, and they're gonna ride that into the sunset.
And I've legitimately had arguments with people like this, where they're like, "Well, I saw this here," and it says that. I'm like, "No," and showing them it's right here. Now, well, that's just what I saw. I don't know. That's what I'm like. It is not true. I'm telling you right here. It says that this is the right thing. Nah, well, okay. You say so.
So, I mean,
that's I guess that's how you see it, but that's not what I saw. That's not what I saw.
I think it's 2024. Influencers aren't only influencing you to buy products. Like influencers are also influencing the opinions that you have now. Like if you like somebody online, you like the content they're putting out, you're going to believe whatever they tell you because you think they're a source that can be believed. Like instead of making your own opinion and thinking for yourself, if your views align with this person, you're going to believe whatever that person tells you. And that person is online to make money. Like they can be hired by anyone to push whatever agenda. Like it's not just products anymore. It's also pushing agendas and also pushing like people wanting to believe different things. So
political points of view or anything.
Yeah.
Well, we would like
to stay away from the word political.
We would like to influence you to critically think for yourself and come up with your own conclusions. And I think that's a lot of what our channel and content is about, period, is about looking at available paths and options and being able to decipher which one leads you closer to your personal goal. It is not a believe everything you read, believe everything at face value, or even believe what I'm telling you. It is a learn to start recognizing yourself and what choices lead you toward, and that's it.
Right. I agree.
Make decisions yourself. That's the general theme of what we do.
Let the general theme of life be, if you see it on social media, probably look it up elsewhere to see if you can find
the shit that is on there sometimes and the quotes and it's like, okay,
they can say whatever they want to say,
anything they want
on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. There can be anything put out in the world. Do your own research to choose what you're going to believe in life.
A degree of skepticism is healthy.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to shit online.
I saw this thing, it was an article about like the clickbaity headlines will actually use like bots to put comments out there that are just like pot stirring comments in order to get more people to defend like Taylor Swift stuff, like start hating on Taylor Swift in their comment section in order to get people to defend her, which drives up their position in the algorithm and makes everybody see it more. So it's like even the people that you're arguing with online may not even be real people. Like
it could just be there as planted dissenters to increase engagement. That's crazy. What kind of world do we live in now?
It's a messed up world. And I'm like, the article that I read was talking about like knowing the source that you're looking at online, like news sources that are not reliable news sources, and like pay attention to the stuff that actually seems legit.
So I thought that's an interesting play on words that I think you stumbled upon there. You've got news sources and you've got snooze sources. Right?
There you go.
You've got sources that you need to start snoozing in your feed because it's just going to fill you with garbage. And I see them and I scroll past them, but I need to start snoozing them so it just doesn't even interrupt my
I see them and I'm like, this is so stupid.
There was
like, oh my, and it's crazy because I'll see those TikTok videos that are a lot like this, which I'm assuming is kind of what of it'll be Warren Buffett and it's like, I have decided to give away X amount of dollars and all you have to do is go to this website, and it's a clearly AI generated thing, and people are like, oh, I hope he picks me. I'd be like, okay. I was like, come on. And those are everywhere, those AI generated things, and I think there's the AI thing is going to get crazy.
In small text up in one of the corners of that same post is like, if you need a passport or document like photo ID created, we can make one cheap for you. I'm like, yes, clear. Okay, this is all going well.
It's crazy.
But now we're in an age where, yes, AI is involved. We're in an age where deep fakes are easy, and it makes it more and more difficult to distinguish what's real and what's not anymore. And it's not going to get easier. Those lines are being blurred more every day. So for us as adults, but more importantly for our kids.
That's what it scares me for our kids.
The critical thinking and ability to form your own opinion and not rely on the sources that are out there. And this is probably one of the things that they need to start stressing in school more than anything is like source validation,
right?
Source vetting. It's not enough to just find something online and grab the link anymore. There has to be some source vetting going on.
I remember in high school, that wasn't like, you remember you'd have to like, the internet can only be one source.
Yeah.
Like we had to do it. And now, then you're in the early days of, Wikipedia or all of these.
I think that's
all of these things. And it was always like, you write a paper or something and you're like, oh yeah, only one source can be the internet. Yep. Like you had to go to the library. Now I doubt it's even like that now because you find everything everything is online.
Right.
That's how you, for the most part, that's how you find information is online. And but now it's, you have to go deeper and like, okay, you found this online, but what's that website? Is it a credible website? Who put this out there? What are their sources of where this came from? Like,
you'll know it's a credible website by the amount of ads on that webpage.
Oh my God.
Sorry, weekend, but it's true.
I don't know what I clicked on. It was an article on something and I clicked on it. You have to click out of 5 different things to even see the text. And as soon as you just start scrolling down it, here's an ad over here, pop-up ad, a video automatically playing. I'm like, good God, people. Like, I'm just trying to read the 3-line article here and I can't do it.
That's when you scroll the comment section to look for the quote.
So mad.
Didn't know you stumbled onto an advertising gangbang site.
Dude, that's seriously what it was. I'm like, okay, how many ads do you need on your website? This is ridiculous. I'm trying to read your story. But at some point, do they not figure it out that like people don't look? Because half the time I'll just exit out of it. I won't even look at if I start to scroll and it's just I'm like, this. I'm not.
They only need a few seconds to get the money for that ad.
Exactly. So. They get the impression. Yep. There's an impression and there's a viewable impression of those 2 different things. So it's wild.
I mean, they're everywhere. And then the worst is whether you have headphones or you're watching a deal and you click on something and that stupid video automatically starts playing on the ad. And you're like, what is that? Where's that coming from?
And you can't mute it.
Yeah. I'm like, where is it? Because there's 14 different ad boxes. How the hell am I supposed to do it? I feel like it's not good to be bitching about it coming from a digital ad agency.
We would never recommend that to our clients.
I hate it.
No.
I hate it.
And we fortunately have at least some level of quality control to make sure that our clients don't end up on sites like that, which is great. We do some placement control. More than anything, we do topical audience control. And I think it's one of the most important things you can do. Like the majority of the ads that you were probably seeing on that page were ads that, what is going on? Why are we blowing up?
I don't know.
Responding to group chats just drives me nuts.
Well, somebody's triggered.
I
don't get tainted by group chats. They don't bother me. That's the wrong word.
Triggered?
I don't get triggered by group chats.
Tainted?
They don't bother me.
I don't know where that came from.
The
story said tainted.
Well, when
there it is. I think I was literally reading that line.
When you're doing a live stream or even now, like trying to do a recording and there's buzzing coming from multiple directions, it's undeniably a distraction, right? And it's the distraction from trying to accomplish the mission that I'm trying to accomplish that just derails me. I'm like, okay, make it stop.
I'm always distracted. Always. 99.9% of the time. So I guess that's why stuff like that doesn't bother me. There's always
And
I'm always butterflies flying around.
Yeah, basically.
You're always you're distracted 99.95% of the time. Was that what it was?
She said 99.9.
99.9, and I'm focused 99.9% of the time.
I don't know why we're together, but I love you.
I love you too.
Opposites attract.
Yep.
Apparently.
That's right. You were right, Paula Abdul.
He's like, the other day I said, oh, do you want some cheese cubes to go with your crackers and chips? He's like, yeah, that'd be great. And I'm like, okay. And I opened the fridge and I'm like, oh, I don't remember what I was in here for. So I shut it and he's like, did you get the cheese cubes? And I was like, Oh, no, I forgot. It spanned 30 seconds.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you went to the fridge and there were no cheese cubes because your dad was there. He finished them off. He finished them off. He's like, well, the expiration date on these cheese cubes is going bad, Candace. I took care of it for you.
She wasn't offering to get me the cheese cubes. She just wanted to know if I wanted some.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, you want some? Yeah. She goes, this right. I was like, cheese cubes? She's like, yeah. Oh, did you want them?
That's a separate question.
You want me to get them?
That is a totally separate question.
No, I just went to the fridge. I opened it and he's like, you opened the fridge. I was like, yeah, but I forgot what I was looking for. And then I got distracted by something that was in the fridge and then I shut it. That's the extent
probably
of
an exploding Diet
Also,
Coke.
because you're talking about the cheese cubes, has your dad heard us talking about his cheese cube or his cheese thing that we talked about on the podcast?
My dad doesn't watch the podcast. Hi, Dad.
Hi.
I wonder if he's shit since then, though.
And you're like, you ate a whole bag of cheese cubes.
He's been really emotional for a month and a half.
Cheese. It's too much cheese.
Yeah, that was before Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'll bet his stomach hurt the next day. I can't imagine.
It's so much cheese.
You'd have to eat a whole like container of grapes to be able to balance it out.
How was yeah. I don't know. That's too much cheese.
It's too much. Too much, man.
You can't just eat a bag of cheese cubes because they're going to go bad.
Okay, we have another story to dive into. This one is from Petty Revenge and is titled Revenge of the Office, Karen. Or Revenge on the Office, Karen. This is not my story. It belongs to a friend of mine. I couldn't stop laughing at the subtlety and nuance of her win this week and have to relate it. A is an executive assistant for the CEO. While she works mostly for one person, there's an executive team that she also does some work for, and one of these is C. C, for the want of a better word, is the epitome of the office Karen. She takes great joy in being condescending, rude, taking credit for everyone else's work, and throwing people under the bus. Difficult to work with is a bit of an understatement. When A first started working there, C reported her to her boss for her attitude on a number of occasions, when all A was doing was trying to hide her frustration because C was deliberately being obtuse and making A's life unnecessarily difficult. A's boss is well aware of the friction. However, C is actually very good at her job, and she's clever enough to not cross lines that would get her into deep trouble. A decided that if she couldn't beat them, she'd join them in the best and most subtle possible way. Earlier this week, A ensured her boss overheard her talking to a client, praising C to the heavens. It was actually a real client call, not faked. When she hung up, her boss praised her for being the bigger person and talking up C despite their relationship. When C came in, the boss made special mention to her that A had been praising her while A just sat there smiling innocently at her. C was not happy at all about this, but couldn't do or say a thing without looking like an ass. To put the cherry on top, the following morning, A greeted her with, "C, you look so tired. Are you okay? Can I make you a coffee?" C said no and stomped into her office. Every time she came out, A proceeded to say, "You really don't look well. Are you sure you're okay? Is there anything I can do for you?" Meanwhile, A's boss overheard these exchanges and once again praised her for setting aside their differences and trying to make things work. By the end of the day, C was visibly seething, and A was the boss's new favorite. We believe C may well be a basket case by Christmas.
Love it.
That's the end of that one.
You gotta
love it.
That is beautiful.
Take him out with kindness.
Yeah.
Take him out with kindness.
But what she's doing is she's taking away that control that she feels like she has over her. And it's not even really control that she should have over her. It's just like she's taking away that position of power that she thinks she has. And when you take away someone's power like that, they melt down.
That's exactly the conversation that Ava and I had over the weekend. And it was the backhanded compliments that teenage girls are notorious for.
Why are girls so mean?
I don't know. And I told I told our girls, I was like, let's normalize not saying that's just teenage girl behavior. And because those teenage girls grow up to be women like C who make other people's lives hell. And so we talked about if you feel like something is a backhanded compliment, it most likely is. But it's like the looking you up and down with like a straight face and being like, "Oh, you look cute." I'm like, that's not how you give somebody a compliment. That's being petty. Yeah. And I'm like, and that's when you take that compliment and you're like, "Hey, thanks. I love my outfit today. You look cute too." Like, and then walk away. And I'm like, do not let them, like, don't second guess your outfit. Don't, in that moment, like, you have to own the moment don't let the compliment, like take it as a compliment. Don't let it be backhanded and then walk away. Because I'm like, if you, in that moment, if you let that show that bothers you, that girl is just going to take it and run with it.
Yeah.
And she's going to drive it home. And I hate that. I hate that about women. And it sucks.
And that's the interwoman world petty battle, psychological warfare side of things. There's also the relationship side of things, not just romantic relationship, but friend relationship side of things too, where we know people going through some shit, and the antagonist in those stories will try to use guilt. They'll try to cast lines out that to make the other party feel bad for them, and then as soon as they show any sign of weakness by showing remorse or feeling bad for them at all, they use that and exploit that and turn it into a window for them to regain control.
And that's what they want. They thrive on that. They thrive. It's for people who like this. You thrive on having something over somebody. You thrive on attention.
Right.
You take that away from them, and they don't know what to do.
Right.
Just like that. Like this person's going to melt down and she's going to be a basket case. She's going to melt down because she is losing her perceived power over that person. It's like, you don't have any power over that person. You just think you do. And you take that away. And
I can't imagine defining my success or happiness in life by the number of people that I have control over.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't want control over miserable.
Exactly. That's exactly where I'm at too. I'm like, I don't want that responsibility. I don't want who would want that? It's like because that's their definition of power.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather walk alongside people than try to control people and tell them what to do and where to be. And
right.
As far as running a business and having that, like, I don't enjoy that part of it. Like, that's the worst part of it.
If you know somebody in life who is like this, just the amount of time and energy that it takes to focus on this is absurd to me. But also, the conversation we had this weekend was you have to become untouchable to people like that through whatever means necessary, either by killing them with kindness or beating them with kindness, I guess we should say.
Or just not engaging.
Becoming
that's what they want you to do.
Truly untouchable. And I think we had a good summation for that too. And it's people in your life who have a negative effect like that. We talk about proximity a lot, and people who abuse it don't get to keep it. But it boiled down to 0 is greater than -1.
Yeah.
Right? If somebody is having a negative effect on your life, then they don't get to be part of it. It doesn't matter who they are. And even if it's somebody you work with, you have to become untouchable. You have to become uncontrollable, so that if they are abusing that or trying to manipulate things like that, becoming untouchable gets it at least back to a 0 state rather than having a negative effect on your life. And that 0 is better or greater than -1.
As it currently stands, when we walk into this office, I don't feel like there's anyone who would ever do this, like in our office right now.
Yeah.
Besides Tony. No, for truly, there's no one in our office that makes it uncomfortable to be here. Has there been? Yes. And it sucked.
Ugh.
And we call them dark clouds because it taints the whole office experience. And it sounds like what C is in this is, because I said the word taint.
I know. It's like your vocab word of the day today.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean to use taint earlier. I just was reading it on the thing. Taint. Taint, no way, taint.
Taint is an applicable term for a lot of people in those instances because they're halfway between a dick and an asshole.
There you go.
Well, it's like when there's a million different. It took a second to process.
Did you?
It took a second because I was like formulating a thought, and then he said that. And it was like I had a buffer for a second. It was like a 30-second tape delay or whatever.
If you open your new notebook and draw a dick on the first page, is the cover now a taint?
Yeah, the inside cover, yes. The inside cover, yes, it absolutely.
I don't even know what I was going to say.
And then you can taint, no taint on the inside cover.
No taint.
Oh, I know. Like
you're a taint, and I ain't talking about the fleshy fun bridge.
How many times can we say the word taint?
Too fucking many already. It's like you see like you've seen videos or things of like if there's like a moldy piece of fruit and it's with everything else, like it just spreads to all of that.
Yep.
And I think it's that same type of philosophy with this. Like,
yep.
I don't know. I was just seeing.
I'm like, what does that have to do with taints?
No, because what you're talking about, like, because it started by her saying that the person taints the rest of the Now it's just as bad. Okay. It's too many taints.
No, I'm only going to imagine tainting something is somebody going up and rubbing that part of their body on it.
Jesus Christ.
It's been tainted.
Taint.
So
anyway, but you know what I mean? Like that one bad, like the one bad apple will infect the rest of the, and I think I feel like we've gone through that. We went through that and I think it happens. And I think the best way is you gotta.
It's always a surprise though. And that's, that's the weird part. It's always a surprise to me. It was a surprise
to some people.
Candy Thunder, has a,
I've been surprised once.
Yeah, you have been surprised before. It does happen, but for the most part,
by one person.
You're able to spot it pretty quickly.
I think she does have a very good, you have a very good read and a feel for people.
And I mean, we're like completely opposite in that way because I can walk into a room. Like if I can walk into the office when that person worked here and I can feel the stress and the tension like radiating off of you guys. You were also
caught between the two biggest people that it was radiating from.
Yeah. But I mean, I can walk into a room and feel that something is wrong.
Like literally there'll be times where she'll walk in and she'll 2 seconds in, she'll look at me and she goes, "What's wrong?" Like, what are you talking about? It's like, "No, what's wrong? Something's wrong."
And he walks into a room and not that is any reflection. Like we both have our strengths and I don't think being an empath is a weakness. I think it's a strength. But he walks into a room and you are hyper focused on what you need to accomplish in that room. And I walk into a room and I'm distracted by what I see happening in that room.
Well, yeah. And I also have,
you can see the vibes.
I have rose tinted glasses when it comes to the motivations of other humans too.
Right.
Especially when it's people within our sphere. I always assume that everybody's on the same page and they're doing the right things for the right reasons. And that's not always the case. And I have been
unfortunately tainted.
Unfortunately, that's been tainted.
It's a new shirt.
Unfortunately, I have been proven wrong enough to kind of be a little calloused.
And I hate that. I hate that that people can make you feel that way. And that was my question about this story. So while she did beat her and maybe C will crumble, but what if she doesn't? Like, what if she hits back harder? How long is A's approach sustainable in that story? Like, how long can you sustain working around somebody who makes you feel like shit?
Eventually, you're going to snap. And you're going to be like, for sake. You're just going to go off.
Because normally when you, destroy with kindness, you are, doing it, you're not in close proximity. Eventually you drive that person away because they no longer have that control over you. But it seems like C has an office there. She works there. She works under multiple people. So is she going anywhere? How long is their relationship sustainable before one of them has to leave? And
C has tenure over A. So,
but it also sounds like though the boss is on A's side.
And what she's doing is the correct approach.
And so you can see that to me, the path would be that C's not going to be there because
I don't know, man.
The boss is on A's, seeing the effort that she's putting in and all of that. And so I think eventually the blow up's going to happen because I think C is going to snap before A snaps.
So he would see in that moment the output of work. You would look at what the work being produced by C and work being produced by A on who you would keep in that moment.
Well, and my understanding of the dynamic here is that C is an executive, A is an assistant. And C is good at her job, which OP states in this, and that's why C is still around. And unfortunately, a lot of people who are just shitty people and shitty to the people around them are allowed to continue doing and being what they are because they're good at their jobs. Right. And that seat that A is in right now becomes a revolving door because those people are allowed to continue treating people
and
like
that's shit. What I would look at. Yeah. I would look at why that position is revolving so much. Why is the turnover so high in that position? And what do I need to change about the structure of this organization in order to fix this? But maybe that's
something too that the boss is noticing now with A. Maybe A is the one who breaks that cycle, and the boss starts to look at it and go, A is being nice, and they're having this issue, and we've replaced this person a lot. Maybe C is the problem.
From similar issues I've seen in other organizations, not ours, but I can tell you with 95% certainty that the boss already knows.
Probably.
Already knows that C is the problem and allows it because the output, which has the greater effect on the bottom line, is there. So she's allowed to continue doing that, probably because they don't have the cost to replace C would be much higher than the cost to replace A. And unfortunately, that's why a lot of that shit continues. It's also entirely possible that C has something that makes her somewhat untouchable. And a lot of people will misuse whatever that something is, whether it's blackmail or a medical condition or whatever it is. A lot of people will use that and abuse it to treat people like shit because they know they can't be.
It could be as
fired.
simple as, hey, maybe half of your clients are there because C's there, or half. C brings in X amount of dollars, or C is, not.
Doesn't make her a good person.
No, it doesn't. But it makes that decision difficult for the boss.
Right.
This story just goes to show like that. And we tell our kids this all the time. You have to learn how to handle bullies. Like, you have to learn how to handle that stuff because it doesn't end after high school.
Yeah. It doesn't go away.
There's always bullies.
Well, you're going to be more mature. Yeah. But there's always people that act like this, that do these things, that thrive on making people feel uncomfortable, that thrive on putting people down.
And it's like, why?
I don't know.
Everybody.
I don't do it, so I don't know.
ELE. Everybody love everybody. Just be nice.
I thrive on making people uncomfortable, but it's mostly talking about taints and stuff. So
that's your
but you're not. You don't
put people down.
Yeah, your goal is not to be like an asshole to people because of who, like, you think you're better than them.
No, if somebody needed something, you would give them the shirt off your back. Like, there's no question about that. You are not an evil person.
Not this shirt, but I have one in the back that I could give them. But
nobody would probably want that shirt because the Chiefs are the most hated team in the NFL. So.
Well, that happens. I mean, somebody might want it if they want to feel like a winner for once. I only wear Chiefs stuff because they win. But
that's right.
That's true.
Yeah.
They lose on Sunday, you're done.
You're done.
Gotta go.
Sending you to Miami.
This is a really long story. It was a follower submission.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay. I felt for this girl when her story. We just got it today, but I read it.
Oh, is that the one you just read?
Yeah, I just felt for her. I felt like she needed help. So.
Okay.
Well, let's give a helping hand, shall we?
Let's try. This is a follower submitted story.
Okay.
That's my helping hand.
Oh.
Everybody raise your helping hand.
Are we pledging allegiance to the taint of the
ASCON states of
the dick?
Hey, Shane, we're going to need a little taint counter in the bottom corner of this screen for how many times the word taint has been said during this program. It needs to go up every time, like a little ding.
Shane, taint no thing. All right, for real though.
Okay, here we go.
Follower submission, and then we're wrapping up.
All right.
Well,
just a preference, this story may be long as you'll need to know a lot of background information. My 23 female mom, 43 female, may have cancer or pre-cancer, as I found out through text. While at work, I randomly received a text message from my aunt, 46, asking me, if you knew your mother had cancer, would it change your relationship with her? I wasn't exactly sure how to answer this because in my eyes, I didn't necessarily do anything that I needed to change. I've tried reaching out to them, but it's usually followed by no response, or if they do respond, to them telling me that I'm just playing the victim and need to take responsibility. Sounds like a great relationship. I want to add some background information here because there's a reason that they do not talk to me, and I feel you need to know this information to better understand what's fully going on. My relationship with my mom and dad has always been strained. We never had the type of relationship where I was able to talk to them and tell them what was going on in my life or be completely honest with them without getting insulted or yelled at. So growing up, I learned it was just better to talk to my friends and or their parents about things that I needed advice on. Usually the things I needed advice on were childish and small or situations my parents had put me in, so you understand why it would have been hard to go to them. When my mom realized that I was doing this, she grounded me and took my phone and told me that I could be ungrounded when I learned to come to her and talk to her instead of my little school friends because she cared about me and they didn't and never would. As you can guess, this did not make me want to talk to her. In fact, it only drove me the opposite way. I knew talking to her would only result in yelling or fighting in the household, so I stopped talking to anyone about things like that. To this day, that has not changed. I still do not go to my parents if anything is wrong because they will just scold me and tell me that I need to get my life together and figure things out the way they would have done instead of letting me be my own person with my own decisions. Everything was fine until December 2021. I had a miscarriage with my daughter. At 14 weeks, I went to the hospital and was induced, went into labor, and gave birth to her. My parents absolutely refused to acknowledge that I had her or that she's my daughter. My mother told me I needed to get over it and move on because she's tired of hearing about it. After that, I went into a depression, and they didn't talk to me for 3 months except to ask if I was having another baby. So if not, they could return the items they bought for me for Christmas and get their money back. Eventually, I did start to get better, but the whole event was traumatic and left me with severe anxiety, which only worsened when I found out that I was pregnant a few short months later with my second daughter, Autumn, who was due at the end of November. I ended up having a really hard pregnancy, was diagnosed with preeclampsia, and was hospitalized for almost 2 months. During this time, my mother stayed there with me, which was nice, but would do things like going through all the doctors' and nurses' drawers and cabinets in my room, even if I asked her to stop. She would also talk over me to the doctors as they were asking me questions and talk bad about my now husband, saying things like, I better be glad we're having a girl because my husband wouldn't be able to teach a boy to do anything manly. He's a very smart guy who likes to game in his downtime, and my parents hate this. My daughter, unfortunately, was born at 32 weeks, weighing only 2 pounds, so she was in the NICU. When she was about to come home, we reached out to our families and told them that we didn't want any visitors for the first 2 to 3 days since my husband didn't get to see her much. Only one of us was allowed in the NICU at a time, and he thought it should be me since I was trying to breastfeed her, and he thought it would help my anxiety. I didn't think my parents would give us the time we were asking for, so I didn't tell them the day we came home, and I was right. As soon as I told them that she was home, they showed up at my doorstep the next morning waiting to see her. We didn't have any rules when it came to our daughter, only that because she was so tiny and only weighing maybe 4 pounds when she came home, that we didn't want anyone kissing her. My mom could not respect this boundary and expected me to drive my newborn daughter down to her on days off, which is every other Wednesday, to bring her over on weekends when her and my dad were both home. I told her this was too much. It's an hour away, and she was always welcome at my house. My mother completely disrespected our boundaries of not kissing my daughter and blatantly did it in front of me several times, even after my reminding her and saying, hey, Mom, remember, we don't really want kissing her, or we don't want her sick because I know you don't want that either. Just for her to look at me and say, what, like this, and continue to do it again like it was no big deal.
Oh, I would have lost my shit. I would have lost my ever-loving mind if someone did that to my child.
Now what I did next, looking back, I know was irresponsible and uncalled for, but I felt like I was going insane. They told me that I was acting crazy for having a rule saying they weren't allowed to kiss their granddaughter in what was the start of the RSV season.
Okay.
If she would have caught it, it would have very easily killed her. An attempt to show them that I wasn't crazy and that I knew a lot of people, especially during RSV season, had asked for people not to kiss their babies. I went on Facebook and made a post asking that if you were in a situation similar to mine, what would you do? And the comments were all basically saying that it was my daughter and my rules, and no matter who the family member was, they need to respect boundaries that I had set. Now, I did not name the person in the post, and no one really had any idea who I was talking about until my dad went into the comments saying that he and my mother are different and deserve to be treated differently because they have done everything for me, and without them, there would be no Autumn. I informed them that they were not different, especially than her other grandparents, and they had also been there helping, and they were able to follow the rules that we had put around her.
I guarantee you Dad did that all by himself. He wasn't prompted by the mom at all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure of that.
John, do something! Comment this. No, delete that. Say it like this.
Oh, just give me the phone.
My parents were the only ones who, for some reason, could not seem to listen, nor did they even want to listen. Because of that, a huge fight ensued because my now husband, for the first time in 10 years that we have been together, put his foot down and told them that they are not going to act this way, and that she has more than one parent, and that it was not just me making the rules, but him as well, and they need to respect our decision. He also told them that he didn't trust them around her since they couldn't follow something so simple, and trust is earned, not given. My dad was livid at that comment and said that he was no longer welcome at their house. And I also got a nasty text message from my mother saying not to worry about coming over for Christmas or ever again because we were not welcome there. Soon after, she left me a voicemail saying, "Yeah, you were right not to answer because you want to fight. You gotta fight. Now I'm sick and tired of it. You are not playing the victim here. That child is 2 months old. She is fine. I'm taking you off of my insurance. I'm going to get in the car and I will sell it. You will have nothing. Without it, all you have to do is yourself. Good luck, honey." It's pretty close.
I like how it says I copied and pasted directly from my voicemail because I think we all know how the translation previews of those voicemails sometimes sound exactly like
I guarantee you this mom was just bitching and like whatever flowed out.
Y'all ain't nothing without me and blah, blah, blah. I'll sell this car. I'm going to do it.
In every direction possible.
Like there was no filter whatsoever.
That was something.
Just rambling.
Yeah.
After that,
losing control.
Our communication slowed. I did not go over there, but I did ask if they wanted to go meet us at a park or restaurants when we were in town. They always responded back with no because my husband was there and they did not want to be anywhere around him or have anything to do with him because he was very rude and disrespectful.
Okay.
And you weren't?
Yeah. I did this for a few months until I got tired of telling them that we were in town just to be responded with no. They didn't really want to see us. At this point, I just assumed that they didn't really care enough to be in my daughter's life, or we just weren't important to them. So I stopped sending pictures and messages because they either gave no response or always just told me no. Nice. That was the extent of any conversation I had with them. Fast forward to last week when my aunt texted me, telling me that my mother had cervical precancer and was going to have surgery to get it removed, but that would not stop it from coming back as cancer. I told her I had 1 million questions, and she said that she did as well. I reached out to my mom and my dad the same day, asking if I could talk to them without the judgment or anger. When they said sure, I proceeded to ask why they didn't come see my daughter, as I did tell them they were always welcome to visit, call, or FaceTime with her anytime, but they never did so. I told her I felt like she was starting to do to me what her mom did to her and only wanting a relationship if I do all the work. She said that I was playing the victim and that I just wanted to message them and tell them about how bad of parents they were, which was not my goal at all. I just wanted to talk things through and work on things so that I could establish a better relationship going forward for both me and my daughter with them. But instead, my mom said that she wants me to apologize for all of the hell that I put them through growing up. Okay. I was a good kid, no drinking, no drugs, no real trouble outside of all the fighting at home. My aunt then texted me the next day screaming at me for giving my mother grief and telling me that I didn't get beat the way she did. I should just accept them as they are and move on or let her live out her life. Now, I know I'm the asshole for this, but I had zero left to give.
Finally.
I texted my mom telling her to please get her a tack dog because I've had enough of this, to which I'm assuming she told my aunt since I received a message saying, "I'll show you an attack dog." I screenshotted that and sent it to my mom and dad's group conversation with the caption, "Bark, bark," written above it. They didn't respond, which was fine with me. My aunt kept going, to which she eventually told me that her and my mother had talked to my grandmother, their mother, out of coming to my wedding last month, lying and saying that I didn't even invite them. And I showed her that I did, but she didn't say anything back. And now I know why. They also told her that it was them or me. Basically, she could have a relationship with my two cousins, aunt and mom, or come to the wedding. After knowing my mom stooped that low, I messaged both of my parents telling them I'm completely done. At this point, I'm blocking their numbers along with everything else. They are no longer welcome in mine or my daughter's life. I tried working through this with them several times, talking about it and trying to move forward. But now I am done. I want absolutely nothing to do with either of them. I'm having a really hard time with this because all of my mom's family and my parents' friends are telling me that I am being an asshole to them and need to get over myself, and that growing up I had all of the stuff that a kid could ever want. But they don't know my parents used to buy me gifts or would give me nice things for Christmas to one-up their friends. I'm grateful for these things, but to me they were just things and don't replace an emotionally available parent. Am I the astronaut for wanting to cut off my mom, grandmother, and aunt, even though my mom might have cancer? Am I overreacting, or is this a long time coming as they've done these sorts of things to me my whole life?
It's been a long time coming, but
you are not the asshole.
Man,
100%.
These parents are a piece of work.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they were, like, mom and aunt had a rough childhood growing up, maybe. Mm-hmm. And and they're using that as an excuse to be emotionally unavailable for
There's a difference between being emotionally unavailable and being emotionally abusive.
Yeah.
There's also a difference between playing a victim and setting a boundary, and that's what she's doing.
Boundaries.
She's trying to set a boundary and saying this is just the way it needs to be, and you and the parents are just totally disregarding that and just being like, you can't tell me what to do. I'm your mom and dad. We're your parents. You can't tell us not.
Yeah.
I can kiss my granddaughter if I want to. Like,
no, you can't.
Okay. And then is that what you're going to say at the funeral too? Or no? It's like, well, I kissed her if I wanted to. No.
I think
so
you're getting a lot of projection from mom.
Yep.
A lot. This whole, you are being the victim. That's one of their freaking party lines, right? They're using it all the time while they are playing the victim for every single thing that they do, for shitty decisions that they made themselves and situations they put themselves in, and then they victimize themselves, and then they blame you for being the victim. Like you're being gaslit by your parents.
Right.
Here.
Yeah.
This OP has been conditioned to not set boundaries, because if she sets boundaries for herself, then she's playing the victim.
Right.
But really, so now that you're trying to set a boundary and you're trying to enforce that boundary, you feel like you're doing something wrong, when what you're doing is a normal human behavior. It's your child. You're the mom. You're the one that's there to protect her.
Right.
Like, you're doing what you have to do to protect your child. And I agree with what you're doing. I would not want people kissing my NICU baby.
And especially if you told them not to and they did it right in your face and be
just
like, oh,
be
like
blatant.
this?
Yeah. Like that's
come on.
Yeah. So, I mean, OP, draw your boundaries, set them. And if they don't respect them, then they don't get to be in your life. And I understand that they're your parents and that's hard to say. But at this point, you've created your own family and you need to choose that family, because your parents have chosen not to be in your life. And you need to make sure that you break the cycle with your daughter. Mm-hmm. Be the parent that you always wanted to have. Show up for your daughter and never make her feel the way that you have felt. Teach her boundaries. Teach her how to grow up right and not be blamed for being a victim.
And the aunt needs to butt the out.
Right.
And like, get the
oh my God, the screenshot with
I'll show you an attack dog.
Bark, bark. You were epic for that. I
love it.
You
make a really interesting point here that I think plays into breaking the cycle really, really well. If you are in a situation where you have a cycle of abuse and you are allowing yourself to still be controlled by the person that was perpetuating that or continuing the cycle, how do you expect to ever break that cycle?
Right.
You have to break the chains and the grip that person has on you and not allow them to influence your life at all in order to break that cycle truly. And that is an easy decision, because it is what kind of life do I want my daughter to have?
Right.
That is the easiest decision you will ever make. And that is the only decision you have to make. Do I want her to have the life where I am the mom that I always wanted to be? And if that's the case, if I want to become that mom, I cannot allow my mom in my life.
No, because if your mom did this to you, she's going to do it to your daughter
100%.
too. And you do not want that for your child.
She's already using your daughter. Your daughter against you as a weapon.
In the first thing, before the previous daughter, the miscarriage that she had and the way she reacted and treated her after that, and it'd be like, oh, well, you're still hung up on that, and when you can have another one.
Miscarriages.
Oh my God! Like just right there, she should have been like, you know what? I don't want to talk to you right now. I need you out of the picture for a while, because it's just
But it took.
Yeah. How can you treat your daughter like that?
It took her partner digging in too for her to finally see, though. It took someone else taking her side and choosing her and supporting that boundary for her to be like, okay, no, I am doing the right thing.
But because
everybody around her has basically told her she's being a victim.
Like you said, she was conditioned. She was conditioned for this. This was the first time in her life that she probably came up upon an instance where somebody else validated her feelings.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that breaks my freaking heart.
It's terrible.
Like that is just, please validate yourself and do that for your daughter. Give your daughter that gift.
Well, the silver
you both
lining,
deserve that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the silver lining here is that you get to start writing a new chapter for your life today, right?
That's right.
Without your controlling, emotionally abusive mother in the mix at all.
Don't let them taint your life.
No, that's absolutely correct.
Ding.
Beep.
Okay. Yeah, and that was a follower submission. So OP, who is a part of our community, our hearts go out to you.
Yeah.
Sending all kinds of positive healing energy your way, and just know that you are making the right choice because you're making that choice for your daughter. And you get to do what your mother never did. Put your daughter first.
And tell your aunt to go bark up a different tree.
I'm like miscarriage mama to miscarriage mama. That never goes away. Like, you don't ever have to get over that hurt. Like, that you can't just put it in a drawer and pretend it didn't happen, because like that's always in your heart. Like, knowing that you had a baby that you never got to meet. So do not let your mom make you feel less than. Like, do not let your mom make your first baby feel like it wasn't a part of your family. Like, it didn't mean something to you. Yeah. Because just on that offense alone, your mom does not deserve to be in your life.
Exactly.
You've got some ask on one parents.
Dude.
Like they're
aunts
that bad.
Friends of your parents. Yeah. They're all piling on. And the whole argument of, well, you had everything as a kid. Well, like, come on.
Things don't matter.
That doesn't matter. We're not talking about that. We're talking about right now and how you're being treated right now, and how your family is treating you and how they should be treating you. This is not how you treat family. Like, this is not, your family's supposed to be there for you and be supportive and not put on the appearance that they're trying to be, that they're supportive, which they put on a show, and God only knows what they're telling all their friends, their daughters.
Yeah, like,
she wouldn't even let us in the room with her, and Bob, she let everybody else in. She wouldn't let it. Yeah. That's not true. So don't just tune all that bullshit out, because that's all it is. It's a bunch of bullshit.
I think this also ties back to one of the previous stories about the source, right? About the source of the news. And this has to be one of those things where, as you hear people telling you that you're being an asshole, think about their source. Yeah. They're getting their news from your mom.
Well, and it ties into the other story too, of taking away that control from somebody.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Mom has control over you, and she's like, wow, she's my daughter, and I know what it was like. She had the best life. You're taking away that control and that superiority that she feels like she has on you, and you take that away from her, and this is what happens. She melts down and she doesn't know what to do.
The pain your mom is feeling right now is the pain of losing control, and she doesn't know what to do with it, so she's projecting everything on you, saying that you're making yourself feel like the victim, and that is not true. 100% not true.
She's trying the guilt play too.
Yeah.
That's what she's resorting to.
Yeah, the guilt thing is like,
that's why she's not talking to you or not seeing you. It's to exercise control. Yeah. And if you can't set boundaries for yourself right now because you're not there yet, then set them for your daughter.
Yep.
Like, do everything you can through your daughter until you're ready to set those boundaries for yourself.
It's a much easier decision to make when you're making it for your kids.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're doing the right thing. NTA.
NTA.
We are with
everybody else in that story, other than your husband, is ask on one.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yep.
Bark, bark.
Bark, bark.
Bark, bark.
I love it.
Bark, bark.
Okay. There was one last topic that we wanted to touch on before we close out here, and that is what happened last night, the Grammys.
I mean, we got to talk about it.
I only saw part of it, so this is
I don't know. It was weird. Do you go live or something?
I do.
It was a Sunday.
I go live.
I wouldn't know.
Most of the time,
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
Listen, lover, hater, like her music, don't like her music. Taylor Swift is a goddamn mastermind. Listen,
she really is.
She is a icon. What'd you say last night? National treasure. And of course, naturally, just like you said, it happened. The news that travels between the two of us it's funny because more often than not, when I'm typing, I can see that she's typing too, because it's happening at the same time. She is, it's just incredible. She's incredible.
Yeah.
It's so for those of you who, some of you may not be big Taylor fans. I know. Shocking. Last night at the Grammys, the speculation, what is it? What's the term? Clowning? Everybody was clowning hard online. Like,
I don't know. You're asking the wrong couple here.
So I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, any of you young folk out there watching this, but I think it's clowning is the term. And it basically has been happening every time leading up to something, right? Like, the Instagram grid was aligned, the profile pictures changed to black and white, and all of this stuff that's supposedly leading up to Taylor announcing that she's going to release Reputation, Taylor's version, which I know that we are all anxiously awaiting because it's a very popular album. It's probably my what do we say? It's like 1A, 1B. Like that's where it is. So leading up to this, the Grammys, they're like, man, this is happening. She's doing it tonight. She's going to win the Grammy. She's going to announce it on stage like she did with her Midnights album. And we're ready for it, right? First one comes up. She didn't win the first Grammy she was nominated for, right? I think it was like song or something.
Female performance or something.
Yeah, she didn't win that one. It's like, so I even messaged her, Candy. I was like, what if she like doesn't win anything? And then how she gonna announce it? But she won for pop album, and she gets up there and talks about how it's her 13th Grammy. It's her 13th Grammy, and I like her little joke about how she says, I don't know if you know, but that's, my favorite number. And she talks about how the award is really a part of the fans. It was really, the voting members kind of speak on behalf of the fans, what the fans want. And then she goes, so to thank them. And at that moment, I don't know if you did the same thing, but I'm like, oh my God, here it comes. Here it comes. Oh my gosh, it's happening. She's going to announce it. She's like, I'm going to share a secret. And
share a secret she's been keeping for 2 years.
And then that kind of threw me for a second. I'm like, But then I started thinking, I'm like, well, when did she release, start releasing the re-records? I'm like, that's kind of the timeline kind of tracks there. And then she says, my brand new album is coming. And I was like, what? Oh my God. And then she said the name, which is the Tortured, the Tortured Poet Department. And so she got us again, because we're all sitting there thinking that it's going to be Reputation. And then she announces a new album, which, listen, I might have manifested this. So Swifties out there, you're welcome. Because what was that, like Friday or Thursday? One of the days
last week, yeah.
I literally said, I was like, I'm really excited for Reputation. I was like, but I kind of want a new album. Like, it's been, we just had this discussion. It's been 2 years.
No, it's not been 2 years.
It's been 2 years.
It was October 2022.
It was 2022. It's 2024. 2 + 2 is 4.
part of the part of the source code that was on our website, where it was the spoofed error, was
a code.
Yeah, it translated to red herring, right? And red herring would be the clowning that she was going to release.
And also, but then the code that was on there was TPD. And then it was like a colon, and it said 321. And if you flip them around, it was the Tortured Poet Department. Yep. So it was because it showed up like an error page on her deal, and it was wrong. But she did it. She did it again. And the other thing that I thought about is, the line of Taylor Swift is the music industry. And a lot of people will disagree with that, or they don't, it's a thing Swifties say. But in a night with a room full of some of the most famous people in the world that represent pretty much anything and everything you hear on a daily basis. And what is anyone talking about today?
That she's dropping a new album.
Why? Because, and you could see.
Oh, and Miley Cyrus.
Miley, shout out to Miley. Incredible performance. Her speeches were hilarious. She's great.
Miley has the confidence of 100 women, and she just doesn't care.
And she has the talent to back it up.
You can't look at that and not be completely in awe, because she won me over last night.
Yeah. And I would say was indifferent, I guess, with Miley. I mean, I didn't dislike her. I like her songs. Like,
same.
And
we used to be
Hannah Montana. I grew up with Hannah Montana.
I used to be obsessed with it, and I was too old to watch it.
The best of both worlds. Yeah. No, she killed it last night. But I mean, I didn't see the news this morning, but I can almost guarantee you the first thing they talk about the Grammys was Taylor Swift winning, Taylor Swift announcing a new album, and Taylor Swift becoming the only artist to win Album of the Year 4 times. Before that, it was Frank Sinatra, it was Stevie Wonder, and there was another third old guy who had 3, and Taylor Swift, and they had 3.
Old guy.
And
sorry,
and now she's the only one to win Album of the Year 4 times, which is incredible.
When she won the first award, because Navy was still awake at that time, I got really excited when she won, and I was like, yes, and I clapped really loud, and Navy
scared her a little bit.
Was next to the couch, and I was sitting on the couch. Oh yeah, complete boo-boo face, complete breakdown throughout the entire speech of her announcing her new album, where I again cheered again. And so I told Navy, I'm like, look, this is a big stage, and this is like people who sing and dance, as I break it down for her, because she's very into dancing right now and singing. But I was like, this is where people who work really hard to like get to that certain spot in life, and they go up on the stage and they win an award for everything they've accomplished. And I was like, and that's why we're cheering. And I like tried to explain it to her in a way that she could understand it, because she's 2. But I think she did. And then she told me she wanted to go to dance class. So.
There you go.
And I was like, you could be a Taylor Swift. And she said, I want to be a Taylor Swift.
That's
I was like, well, but I had to explain it to her, like,
Taylor, I Navy.
why we're so excited that people are winning awards, and like what the award show is, and like tried to translate that into toddler town. But I think she understood like why it was exciting.
Yeah. And I think, look, I know we talk about Taylor Swift all the time. We love Taylor Swift, huge Swifties. But you know, one thing I noticed too is when she showed up, you know, she was a little bit late. And I saw a video that says she shows up at almost the same time at every award show. She shows up at the very, very last second on the red carpet. Mm-hmm. And I feel like part of that is because she doesn't want to take away from anybody else, because they know what's going to happen. As soon as she steps on the red carpet, everybody loses their fucking minds, and all the photographers screaming. Like, she shows up at the end, lets everybody else kind of have their time. But I feel like I watched it, and you can see the energy in the room shift when she walks in the room. And you saw her walking through it, and you can visibly see everybody at the table is like kind of like moving around. It's like she's in the building, she's there. And I think it's that kind of star power that there's very few in the history of Hollywood, of music, of any of that have that star power. And I think some of those people, Frank Sinatra, a Michael Jackson, those people that walk in the room and you're like, oh shit.
It happens every time Tony Sparks walks in.
And it really does. But I try to downplay that for people. But she's just,
who else Dustin looks at me like that when I walk into the room.
I do. So every time.
That's so sweet.
Unless he's mad at me, then he just doesn't look at me.
I love you, but fuck you.
Yeah.
But anyway, the whole Taylor thing, and then just the last thing on Taylor is I was messaging back and forth with Candy. I was like, think about 7 days. 7-day span. Taylor Swift shows up at the Grammys, wins 2 Grammys, announces a brand new album, breaks the internet again, gets on a plane, flying to Tokyo, halfway across the world. She's going to play 3 nights, 4 nights in a sold out stadium in Tokyo. She's going to hop on a plane. She's going to fly back, and she's going to watch the Chiefs in the big game on Sunday. In a 1-week span, that's what she's going to do.
And then she's flying to Australia.
And then she's going to get on a plane again, and she's going to fly to Australia. Good God.
Jet setter.
What a week.
Yeah, that's insane.
She's going to be hoisting.
What a shonda.
She's going to be hoisting a Grammy and a Lombardi trophy all in 1 week.
That would be stinking cool.
That's wild.
I need to see her and Travis Kelce kissing.
Oh my! You talk about break the internet.
I know.
Again, which obviously is going to happen because it's rigged for us because of that.
Obviously,
yeah. But shout out to Taylor. I remember what I was gonna. I said I wanted your reaction for, and I thought you maybe saw it. So the Tortured Poets Department video came out about a group chat that Joe Alwyn is in with some of his buddies. It's called the Tortured Man Club.
No.
Yeah, there's a video with him that he was talking about a group chat that he's in with his buddies called the Tortured Man Club. And so, wow, an album that's coming out from 2 years ago, and now it's called the Tortured Poets Department.
It's coming out 1 year after the date of the Joe cheating suspicions.
Mm-hmm. Goddamn mastermind.
So you never know. There's a reason she's releasing it on April 19th.
I thought 419 maybe she just wants you to be able to listen to it really high on 420.
That's true.
Maybe
on the heels of
Midnights.
Midnights.
Like
also, in my Delulu world of a Swiftie, I was like, she's going to win Album of the Year. She's going to drop Reputation too. I was still not giving up hope. I still really want Reputation.
Now we're going to have to wait like 6 more months for Reputation.
I did see that again, in the insane world of Swifties, I saw that the trademarks are all out for song names. Mm-hmm. So we know the song names for the vault tracks.
There's also...
Listen, I'm pretty sure the FBI should hire Swifties because I think they would solve every unsolved mystery out there because they know where as soon as the trademarks get filed by Taylor Swift, they know the song lyrics and look them up and it's all there.
Well, they also filed one for TaylorCon.
Oh, really? There's a TaylorCon.
There's a TaylorCon that they filed an intent to use for.
Okay. Well, Thunder and Spark coming at you live from TaylorCon. If you think that we are not going to go to TaylorCon, you're crazy.
We're poor.
We're going to start. If you would like to see Thunder and Spark at TaylorCon, please hit this donate button right here. In the arms of every day, dozens of Swifties.
It'll just be
stopped from their hopes and dreams of seeing Taylor Swift. But for just 25 cents a day, you could help fulfill the dream of a Swiftie to attend TaylorCon.
What am I watching?
To TaylorCon.
Okay, that is all we had for you today. That was well done.
That was great. We got that.
We got it.
Yeah,
that might be the most epic.
We got to use it.
Oh yeah,
definitely have to use it.
It was amazing.
Okay, that is it for this episode of Thunder and Spark. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We had a blast with you as always. Hopefully, I've recorded everything that needs to be recorded, and this thing doesn't get scrapped.
If it gets scrapped, Thunder and Spark is officially canceled and it's never happening again. And I know all 7 of you will be very disappointed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The Thunder and Spark 7.
We'll see you next time. Thank you.
That includes the 3 of us. So really, there's only 4.
So there's only 4.
There's 4 here.
There's only 4. And hey, go Chiefs. Go Chiefs. Was this coming out before the big game?
I sure hope so.
If this comes out, this is your pre-big game watch. You heard it here first.
There you go.
Going to be hoisting that Lombardi. Travis and Taylor kissing under the confetti.